Okay, it's 1 o'clock. We can get started. Welcome to the coffee lecture. My name is Gina Canarozzi from the Chemistry, Biology, Pharmacy Information Center at ETH Zurich. And today I'm going to talk about the Manchester Academic Phrase Bank. So what is the Manchester Academic Phrase Bank? It's a database of generic English phrases and sentence templates that can be used in academic writing. It's a resource that shows both the function of language in academic writing and the potential content of academic papers. So it's available either online for free or as an 154-page document, a PDF that you can download from their website. So I have the version from 2021. There's a new 2023 version available, and it costs only £5 which is a deal. There's a lot in there. So the English phrases look something like this. You have a function. The function is establishing the importance of a topic for the world or society. And then you have some phrases that you can use to do that. So for example, X is widespread in, or X is fundamental to. So you could say genomics is fundamental to the study of life on Earth would be one way to use this. And it's basically 100 pages of such phrases. So the idea is that language comes in patterns. If I say, hi, how are you? And you say, fine, thank you, how are you? These patterns are repeated over and over, and we all know what's coming. And it's the same in academic writing. The same patterns of language are used over and over. So the Manchester Academic Phrase Bank was created by John Morley from the University of Manchester. And originally they compiled phrases from dissertations completed at that university. Since then, they continually update the phrase bank with different sources and different fields. And language is field specific. And it's based on the research of John Swales, who defined moves in academic texts. And a move is a phrase used to achieve a different language function. So you use certain phrases to achieve a function in language, and they define those functions and the phrases that can be used to accomplish them. So the sentence templates in the Manchester Academic Phrase Bank are organized in two ways. One's according to the main sections of a research paper, so introducing the work, reviewing the literature, etc., and also according to general language function, and we'll take a look at both of those. But is it acceptable to reuse academic phrases? Is that not plagiarism? Well, this was discussed, and they came up with the following definition of what can be reused as far as phrases. It should not have a unique or original construction. It should be repeated in the literature. It should not have a point of view. Depending on the phrase, it can be 9 words in length, and it may contain up to 4 generic content words, so nouns, verbs, or adjectives. So if we look at these examples here, if you want to summarize a review, you have together these studies outline that, or overall these studies highlight the need for. These are all generic words. It doesn't have a point of view. It's very non-specific language. So these ones I looked on Google Scholar were repeated 78 times on Google Scholar for together these studies outline that, and 243 times on Google Scholar for overall these studies highlight the need for. So maybe people are using the academic phrase bank, or maybe these are just generic enough. If you go to the web page, which is located here, then you can see that it's organized in these two ways. So across the top, you have the sections of an academic research paper, introducing work, referring to sources, describing methods, reporting results, discussing findings, and writing conclusions. And if you look here, you can look at the language function. So what is the function of language in an academic paper? Well, sometimes you want to be cautious, you want to be critical, you want to compare and contrast, you want to explain causality. These are all things that happen in an academic paper. So you can either use it this way if you're saying, I want to explain some causality, what are the words, or you can do here, I'm looking at the discussion. So if we look at the introduction, what is the purpose of the introduction of a research paper? Well, first you lay out the field, you describe the field, you identify a knowledge gap, and then you state how you're going to fill that knowledge gap with your current research. And they give phrases for all of this. So establishing the importance of the topic. Recently, there's been renewed interest in one of the most important events of the 1970s was, and then you can identify a knowledge gap. It's still not known whether, and then you state the purpose of your current research. So they give you a lot of phrases, but they also give you these things so you can have a choice. X plays a, can play a, may play a key, vital, major role in, and like this. So your writing won't get boring because there are a lot of choices there to have. Academic writing is one of the few kinds of writings where you refer a lot to what's been done before. And so there's a lot of 16 pages of how to refer to what's happened before. This happens both in the introduction of the paper, where you lay out the field and explain the context of your work, and also in the discussion where you present your results and you discuss them in the context of what work has been done. So in the Manchester Academic Phrase Bank, they have that. You can focus on the, where do you want to put the emphasis on the area investigated, such as to date several studies have investigated this area, or do you want to make the topic more prominent? And they give you language for both of these cases. In the methods you refer to, you have to provide enough information that somebody following up on your work can repeat all of your experiments, and they give you language to do that. So, and methods is traditionally written mostly in the passage in the passive voice, but I like that they also have some active voice. So for example, here, many researchers have utilized X to measure is in the active voice, but they have also the passive voice. Traditionally, X has been assessed by measuring. So sometimes if you want to change to active from passive, which is what is the recommendation now, you might get some ideas here. In the results of an academic research paper, you don't put the raw data, you put the data summarized, and it's often summarized in tables and figures. So here they've given a lot of language that helps you refer to tables and figures in your text. So you have table 1, shows, compares, presents, provides an overview of. You can state positive results or negative results. No increase in X was detected, and this is generic language. You can put in your specifics and keep the structure of the sentences that they've given you. In the discussion, you refer back to what's been done and you explain your results in the context of the work that has come before you and the work you're doing right now. So you restate your results. You can compare your results to previous findings and offer explanations and suggest hypotheses, and they have a lot of phrases for that. So that was across the top, the sections of the academic research paper, and these are in the PDF up here. And you also have the same information that's organized by language function. And so, as I said before, being cautious, being critical, these are functions of language and what phrases can you use to do that. And you can see here, this occupies like 50 pages in the PDF. So being critical, you can introduce problems and limitations in theories or arguments. The main weakness with this theory is that, or you can offer constructive suggestions. I like this one. The study would have been more interesting if it had done what I had done, because my work is very interesting and theirs is not. You can compare and contrast. These are other language functions that often come in academic writing, and explaining causality is also a big part. You want to know, why did something happen? Was it because of something else? And so here they've split it into verbs indicating causality: may cause, can lead to, can result in. These are all phrases that indicate causality, or you can put it in the noun. One reason why, the consequence of. These are nouns indicating causality, and they also have other parts of language that can indicate causality. So we are now in the era of AI. So I look to see, is there an AI generated academic phrase bank? And I did find this one, Trinka AI. I haven't used this tool very much. It has been recommended on some websites and I wanted to check it out. So it is fortuitous that they also have a phrase bank. But then I looked at their phrase bank, and actually the structure is a little bit similar to the Manchester Academic Phrase Bank. So when you have introducing work, you have the subject establishing the importance of the topic. And then you have relevant phrases. They're all written out. So they actually have 81 pages of relevant phrases for establishing the importance of the topic. But if you look at these phrases, the first one here is the experimental work present here offers one of the first investigations into how. And as a native English speaker, I would never say that. I just wouldn't say it that way. If you look down here, it says the experimental study presented here. The experimental study presented here provides one of the first investigations. That I can hear myself writing or saying. So when I looked in Google Scholar, this experimental work present here happened one time, and experimental work presented here happened 2,000 times. So what happened? Did they do the expansion with these boxes and take all of the different possibilities and write them out? Maybe that's what they did, and maybe they put it in present and past. But in this case, it doesn't work. So does AI make the Manchester Academic Phrase Bank obsolete? Absolutely not. It's a high quality, curated collection of phrases that you can use in your academic writing. And I think there is a place for AI, and you can do very discipline specific phrase banks. That might be something that AI can do that is too tedious to do by hand. But the quality of this right here, I think is not as high as as the Manchester Academic Phrase Bank. So in conclusions, this was written by Princess Peach, but it could have been me. If Manchester Academic Phrase Bank was a human, I'd be so attracted to it. It's so sexy. So that's a high recommendation from Princess Peach. So that's the end of this coffee lecture. We have 2 more coffee lectures this week. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk about Embase. And on Thursday, Yoshi Dolent is going to talk about the ACD Percepta software. So we hope to see you there. And I'm happy to take any questions if there's any questions. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, doesn't appear to be any questions. So I will end this Zoom. Thank you for coming.